Shout out to the Seattle Seahawks. Wow, the San Francisco 49ers still have a pathway for the number one seed. And crazy enough, it is due to, and in part due to, the team to the north. Oh boy, what a game that we just watched. Seattle versus the LA Rams, and Seattle came out on top. And honestly, it's very rare that we find ourselves rooting, I guess you would say, for the Seattle Seahawks. Yet here we are. Let's talk about the 49ers pathway to the one seed and why this is an exciting time for the San Francisco 49ers. Let's go. You already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button. And let's get into it right now. That's Jason Aponte. I'm Brad Graham. We're going to get smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Dude, it's been so long since I've done a live from right here. I'm hitting the wrong buttons. I don't know which way is up, but I do know that the San Francisco 49ers pathway to the one seed still exists. Oh boy, you love to see it. I know 49er fans are very happy with the outcome of Thursday night football, and we find ourselves clearly in charge of our destiny. So I just want to react to that game really quick. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty upset the whole time watching it. I have JSN in a couple dynasty leagues, couple fantasy leagues. We're in the playoffs. It's go time. It's time to go. So was really hoping for a big explosion from JSN. Obviously, as a 49er fan, we want to see the Rams lose. I wanted all those things, and it just really wasn't going out the way that I had thought it would go or had hoped for. And, you know, I said some mean things about Sam Darnold. I still feel them to be true. But shout out to Sam Darnold, man. Turned it around. San Francisco 49ers somehow... 49ers didn't even play. That's how I feel right now. I feel like the San Francisco 49ers just won a game. But that's just continues to reiterate where we are at the season, how serious all these games are. I mean, there are only 3 games left in this year. Indianapolis for the San Francisco 49ers, then at home against Chicago, at home against the Seattle Seahawks, and clearly after this game, it appears that could be for all the marbles. That could be for the one seed in the NFC. That could be for a first round bye. That could be for home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And what that means is the San Francisco 49ers could theoretically play at home starting after next, against the game against Chicago, from Chicago to the Super Bowl. The San Francisco 49ers could be playing at Levi's Stadium. They could not have to step on a plane. That would be wild. That game script would be insane. Could you imagine the San Francisco 49ers getting home field advantage in the playoffs? Because we know Levi's would go crazy, especially after this season that has been had. And honestly, there just really isn't a clear dominant team in the NFL. There is so much parity right now amongst the NFC, the AFC, that it is really get hot at the right time. And I do think that's where the San Francisco 49ers find a distinct advantage, because obviously the 49ers started a good portion of this year with no Brock Purdy. We started week 1 on the road against Seattle. Brock Purdy gets hurt in the second quarter, finishes the game. We find out he has turf toe. He misses the following week. He comes back against the Jags, clearly not right and not well, and then he misses multiple weeks. Shout out to Mac Jones for holding it down, winning football games, and giving Brock Purdy the opportunity to get healthy. And then since Brock Purdy has been back, they have won 4 games straight. Brock Purdy is heating up at the right time. The 49ers offense is heating up at the right time. Things are starting to gel. Things are starting to move forward. Now, we're going to have a little bit of bumps in the road. That's par for the course. Ricky Pearsall did not practice today, so we'll see what his availability is on Monday. Kyle Shanahan did seem to keep the door open for a potential Ricky Pearsall availability on Monday against the Colts, which would obviously be huge because that is another element that we want to see pick back up. We saw what Ricky Pearsall was looking like at the beginning of the season. There was at one point, Ricky was top 5 in NFL receiving yards. If he can get into rhythm, Brock Purdy can get into the rhythm. Obviously, Jawan Jennings is starting to get into a rhythm. Start building a rapport and a rhythm between Brock Purdy and Kendrick Bourne. I think that is an underrated element. Like, obviously, we saw Mac Jones come in and Kendrick Bourne, they come in and they play together, and it's instant chemistry, instant fireworks. And, I think that is to be expected. Those guys played together in New England. But, Brock hasn't spent a lot of time with Kendrick Bourne and hasn't practiced a lot with Kendrick Bourne. So I think we're going to see that kind of connection start to continue to develop. And, with CMC being healthy and the 49ers offensive line playing a lot better, I do think that the 49ers offense can be that linchpin for the 49ers to continue to really push into this playoff race. Because if we look at the NFC West right now and the way it's stacking up, Seahawks moved to the top at a 12-3 record. 49ers own the tiebreaker, if the 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks, they jump them, and have the opportunity to win out and jump the Rams as well. So yeah, man, this is it's good. It's great. It's grand. The San Francisco 49ers, man, just a crazy season, a crazy script to this year because, I know a lot of you after how last season went. And of course, a 49er season wouldn't be a 49er season without its fair share of drama. But they've somehow maintained the course. The 49ers are getting a bunch of players back this week. It sounds like to their defense, which could be a huge benefit. The defense has been banged up. They've been missing a lot of guys, but they have really been holding their own. I know it hasn't been great. I know it hasn't been ideal, but they've been doing enough. And right now, if the 49ers offense is playing well, enough works. Because as we can see across the league, there's not one team that is just absolutely week in, week out dominating all 3 phases of the game. The 49ers are potentially going to get Tatum Bethune back at that linebacker spot, and he has been a absolute dominant tackler when he was healthy. He was on the verge of breaking an NFL record for tackles before he went down. The 49ers could get Sam Okwuonu back in the mix. We know he can provide some help off the edge. Yetur Gross-Matos, when he is available, can be an impact. So let's hope that we can get that from him, and let's hope he can stay healthy. And for honestly, for Yetur Gross-Matos, man, that's just found money because we haven't been able to rely on him. We haven't been able to count on him. He has been, consistently hurt. for his 2 seasons with the San Francisco 49ers. But when he's on the field, he can and he will be an impact on that defensive line front. Keon White is playing well and starting to really pick up. Nick Martin hopefully could be out of the protocol by then. So we'll see. I mean, Nick Martin hasn't played all that much, but even so, the 49ers are somehow holding things together. And on top of that, Fred Warner is a maniac. Can we talk about that? Can we talk about how crazy that dude is and how I really don't think it is that crazy to think that Fred Warner could return for the playoffs? Now, I don't know about a wild card. I don't think that's realistic, but divisional NFC championship? Could you imagine? Picture this. It's the NFC championship game at Levi's Stadium. 49ers get the 1 seed, home field advantage. They're playing the Seattle Seahawks at home. No, they would probably be playing them in the divisional round. But roll with me. They're at home. The 49ers PA announcer starts calling out the San Francisco 49ers starting defense. And you know how it goes. They'll announce a player and they'll go, Sam Okuwanu, and the whole crowd will echo the last name. Imagine him going down the list, and they always put the most impactful players at the very end. Could you imagine the buildup, naming all the defensive players to then be and San Francisco 49ers middle linebacker, Fred War. Oh my gosh. Goosebumps. Pure cinema. I don't think Levi's would stay together. I think it would crumble at the seams because fans, players, everyone in that building would be so emotionally fired up. Oh my gosh. It would be insane. Blank says, I'm starting to feel it, man. I'm starting to get that hope that number 6 is possible again. I feel it. I get it. I think that I'm cautiously optimistic. I think as a 49er fan who has been hurt time and time again, I do believe that although I am an optimistic fan and I do believe and hope for the best for the team, there has been more cautious optimism this year than I think in a lot of years past. And so I agree. So I have been less like, oh, we're going to get through it no matter what. Nothing's going to phase us, because we saw what last year was. Last year, the 49ers, that cautious optimism backfired. And so with this year, it's more of just kind of always going to root for the team, always going to hope they're going to play well, but let's wait and see for me. But I do agree that I said this to someone, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I said, I have this weird feeling in my stomach. My brain tells me that this probably isn't logical that the 49ers win the Super Bowl. In my head, this was like 3 weeks ago, probably 4 weeks ago. I'm like, it isn't logical in my brain. My brain isn't saying, yes, the 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl, because they lost Nick Bosa. They lost Fred Warner. A bunch of players were hurt. My brain wasn't braining. but there's this gut feeling where I'm like, things are starting to align. It's hard to look past it. And again, I started, this live at the very beginning talking about Brock Purdy and getting hot at the right time and how dangerous that is. And how the 49ers, I think of the 2023 season, remember how hot they were early, and then it was kind of like they were so piping hot that it was like, okay, maintain altitude, maintain at this level. There's little dips and bumps along the way, but they were able to maintain the altitude and climb and climb and climb all the way to the Super Bowl. Probably should have won that Super Bowl. But I think there has been so many peaks, so many valleys to the beginning of this season. And now it just feels like there's like this cresting where the team that has been going up and down, up and down, up and down is like cresting up. And so again, with 3 weeks left, going on the road to play the Colts, I think the biggest test on Monday is stopping Jonathan Taylor. And I think if this defense can do that, led by Robert Saleh, the confidence boost, you talk about cresting. If the defense can come out against Quentin Nelson, Jonathan Taylor, one of the best offensive lines in football, and prove that they can hold up, not saying that they have to dominate, not at all, just hold up against that run game, and the offense continues to peak, I think that it's wide open. I think it's wide open. And I think that this team just needs a chance, just needs a shot at it. And if they can do that and they get into the dance and they can get it, like the 1 seed honestly hasn't even been a thought in my mind until tonight. And I think that's why I'm so hyped about it. I again, like I said, this year, the optimism was kind of holstered in the sense of wait and see. I would just want to wait and see. And so I think now that's why it feels, for me personally, it feels like the 49ers won. Because the fact that the 1 seed is an option, like it's actually viable, that the 49ers have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, like that blows my mind. It really blows my mind, and I think it just reiterates how crazy this year has been, how crazy this last decade of 49er football has been, and it feels like it's all kind of culminating. And it's funny that you say that. You say team of destiny, like the 2010 Giants. That's what I'm kind of getting at when I say cresting at the right time. That's who I think of. I don't think it will be easy because the Giants didn't go out and dominate anyone. They just pulled it together when it mattered most. And they beat better teams. The 49ers were the better team that year. The Patriots were the better team that year. They were not the better team. That, Eli Manning wasn't the Eli Manning that we all think of now. So try not to get ahead of myself. Trying to keep things centered. But this is a great question by Mike. He says, do you think Purdy can carry this team to a ring? In particular, carry the D until we get Fred back? I don't look at it as Purdy. I know from a high-level talk show host, fan discourse, can the quarterback put... I think, obviously, Purdy is driving the car. but it takes everyone. It takes the offensive line. It takes Kyle calling the right plays. It takes Christian McCaffrey continuing to do Christian McCaffrey things. It takes Jawan Jennings continuing to step up and continuing to make plays. George Kittle being George Kittle. And then someone else. Is it Ricky? Is it KB? Is it Sky Moore as a returner? I think the group, and I think that's what makes it special, is that because it's also Mac Jones. Like when I'm watching and I've reflected on these last 4 games, I see a lot of Mac Jones influence. And I think it's important to remember that Brock Purdy's only 25 years old. He is a very young quarterback. And in his time in the NFL, he didn't sit behind a grizzled vet for a long time. You know, he had Jimmy Garoppolo in the building. And then Jimmy got hurt. And then after that, you know, he was in a competition with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold was a veteran, but they're competing for a job. And I think what Mac Jones has brought is completely different than what Sam Darnold was. And the fact that Brock went down, people gave up on Brock. People, like, call it what you want. 49er fans gave up on Brock. Media gave up on Brock. I watched everyone, not everyone, because not everyone did, but the majority of people who are the "what have you done for me lately" flip on Brock. And I tweeted about it. And I said, I do believe that this could actually be a good thing for a guy who has the pressure of the world on his shoulders, who just got paid a huge contract. Typically, that pressure seeps in. But when Mac Jones comes in and plays well, and those two have a good relationship, and I really think that the pressure went away from the contract, went away from all these other things, and it went back to being that chip of I want to be the best football player. And I think when Brock Purdy struggled last year, he put too much pressure on himself to be this, I'm going to carry the team. He doesn't need to carry the team. He needs to be Brock. He needs to play well within the system. And when the system breaks down or the reads aren't there, he needs to make things happen. That's what Brock needs to be. And if you can continue to play within the system the way he is, and he can continue to create with his legs outside the pocket, outside of structure, back to the Brock that we know and we all fell in love with, that's a dangerous Brock Purdy. And I do believe Mac Jones helped him through that, because I think Mac Jones' kind of lighthearted, joking, infectious behavior has really kind of rubbed off on Brock. That's why we're seeing Brock do the Dougie. Like, that to me, I'm like, that feels like Mac. Like, that feels like Mac influence. Like, Mac's like, man, if you score, you got to do the Dougie. That's kind of like, so in a long way of saying it and answering your question, I don't think Brock has to carry. I think Brock has to be Brock. Brockman. Batman. Remember what we talked about? He's not Superman. He's Batman. He's Brockman. If Brock can be Brockman, which is, like we always talk about, playing within the timing of the play, playing in rhythm, throwing with anticipation, and then creating when things break down, we're cooking. The offense is hard to stop that way. And we've seen it. We've seen the efficiency numbers. We've seen the statistics that Brock is able to generate when he plays that way. So when Brock plays that way, it's not carrying. He's I, I don't know how to explain it. It's like he's driving. He's driving. And I think that is how a good quarterback should play. I think when we see, the Josh Allens of the world who, carry, it can get challenging. The best of the best struggle being the whole offense. And I think if the 49ers want to have a chance at going far, it needs to be everyone. It needs to be the whole unit collectively with Brock driving it. So it's a different way of saying, yes, I do think. Oh, I miss doing lives. I miss the 10-minute responses to a very simple question. Yes, he can do it. He can drive. He can drive this offense and carry the defense. I do believe that to be true. I do. I do think he can go. I think he can go pound for pound with any freaking defense right now that I've seen in the NFL. I think it could happen. Shout out to Detail, my guy. Says my dog. Good to see you live, my boy. Good to be live. Good to be. Come on, 1 seed? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? We're talking about the 1 seed. That's what we're talking about. Whoo! Feels good, man. Feels great. Again, like I told you, it felt like I need to do a live. I haven't done. I can't remember the last time I sat in this seat and did a live. It's been that long. I pressed the wrong intro on the way in. It's been a long time, but that, like I said, it felt like, we got a dub today. That's what it felt like. Felt like we got a dub today. Y'all, you know the vibes. Late night gang, you know the vibes. Film breakdowns. Yeah, I haven't done those in a minute. But yeah, I'm just hyped, man. Hyped that the 49ers got a real shot. I think that's gonna be the best part, because when you look at these next 3 games, again, it just feels like they're winnable. Feels like the 49ers really do have the opportunity to control their own destiny. So it's all you can ask for at the end of the day. And I love it, man. I'm hyped. It's a good time. And we'll see how the team responds. But again, there's this gut feeling that I do think that they're going to respond. And I do think they're going to respond the right way. And I think that the 49ers are going to take advantage of this opportunity, because it wasn't given to them. And again, they had to earn this positioning. Everything about this season was earned. Nothing was given. There was no hype. Everyone doubted them. All the injuries, everything that's piled up, the drama. Man, the 49ers are like the perfect. They're like the number one reality show around. Yeah, I gotta shout out Greg Papa. Super happy that Greg Papa is back. Big fan of Greg. It's gonna be nice that we're gonna have him the next 2 weeks back at home on the call. I always talked about Greg, because being in the Bay, he was the voice of the Raiders for a super long time. A lot of my really good friends are Raider fans. And so, 49er fans, Raider fans, your best homie could be a Raider fan. So you're going to talk trash. So I talk so much trash to Raider fans, over the years, but I would always give them credit for one thing. I would always say, the The best thing you guys got going for you is Greg Papa. Really, the only thing you got going for you, because that's how much I respected Greg. That's how much I loved Greg Papa. And, now it's phenomenal that he's on the Niner side, calls Niner games, and happy for him. Happy for him that he's healthy and ready to go. All right. I want to get some reaction from you guys. So, what are we? Oh, Peter. Oh, it's been a while. I'm very happy to see you're on top of it. He was ready. He was ready to drop the cookies. Not so fast. What's the reaction from the chat? How are we feeling? I'll turn the comments on, get you guys up here. How are we feeling right now? You're the 49er fan. The season has been crazy. What are the vibes like? Are we believing? Is it fool's gold? Is this a setup for a letdown? How are we feeling? He said, I thought the team told you to stop doing the film breakdowns because they were too good. Why haven't I been doing as much content? I'll talk about this at the end of the year. I just want to get through this season, but I'll bring you guys in. It's a fairy tale story. Feeling confident, can smell that first round bye. Let's go. We believe. I agree. Philip, cry me a rivers. I love that trash talk from that dude. He should be mic'd up with Kittle. That would be funny. Shock and awe, amazing. What's good? Chili says, I have confidence. So I have no confidence. Okay, touche. Vibes are high. We kind of got that underdog treatment that year Philly won. I like it. It reminds me a little bit of 2019. Because remember, the 2019 San Francisco 49ers were 8-0 and they were the pretenders, remember? So I like it. I like it for sure. Demon Slayer says Oakland deserves a Fetty OD, not a sports team. Dang. Bang, bang, Niners get healthy just in time. He said Brad is taking pictures for the Cowbears. He's forgetting us. Never that. Never that at all. Well, I appreciate that. I love it. We'll get it back. We'll get it back. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. But yeah, man. I'm very excited about because again, man, Brock Purdy goes down, Fred Warner goes down, Nick Bosa goes down. I didn't think we were going to be here. So I'm pleasantly surprised, man. Feels more like the 2021 season, 2 years after Super Bowl loss, going on a late season run. I could see that. I think that's probably, if you have to look back at the last couple years, I would say that is probably the most accurate of where we are. Because that 2021 season was insane. I remember I've talked to a couple players about that run and that year and how crazy it was, because if I remember correctly, they started out with 2 wins on the year. And then I think that third game was that Green Bay loss to Aaron Rodgers. That was the game that Diamond Lenore got benched. And I think they lost 4 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. And And that was the game where it was like they had that crazy game in Chicago against Justin Fields. And if they didn't win that game, I I think they would have damn near been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs by like week 8 or something crazy. Like it was just like that's how bleak it was. And I've talked to 49ers players who are on that team about that game and just how important that Chicago game was. That was the game where they were behind, and then it looked like Jimmy Garoppolo was going to get benched for Trey Lance, and then right before halftime, you throw that quick tunnel screen to Deebo Samuel. Deebo goes for like 75 yards for a touchdown, and the 49ers are all of a sudden back in the game. And then that game changed the season. But from that point, it was they had to win. And then I think they had to end that year. I think the last 5 out of 6 games they had to win to be able to get the 7 seed. And that included a Trey Lance start, Trey Lance's first start against the Texans. Yeah, I haven't thought about that season in a while. And then it took the Ambry Thomas interception to send the 49ers to the playoffs. That year was insane. That year was insane. Absolutely. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Lisa says, would having Fred back really change the dynamics of our defense? Or are we just depending on our offense to carry us into hoisting the Lombardi? That's a great question, actually, because I know we've talked about the potential of Fred Warner returning. I do think it changes the dynamics. I think it takes a lot of pressure off guys like D Winters. I think Fred Warner's presence I think it's very similar to offensive players when they talk about a quarterback who is calm, cool, and collected. I remember interviewing Aaron Banks at the Super Bowl, and we were talking about Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game against the Detroit Lions. If you remember that game, I think the 49ers fell, I think it was 24-7 at halftime. And I asked Banks, I'm like, okay, take me into the huddle. What is Brock Purdy's demeanor in the huddle? In that moment, you're down huge in the NFC Championship game. You're favored, to, go all the way. And he said, Brock never wavered. Calm, cool, and it brought the temperature of the huddle, he said, to like a place where they all felt like they had a shot. Because when you have a leader or like someone like Brock who can bring that calm and confidence amidst those types of situations, it permeates amongst the group. And I've experienced it as a center and having a quarterback who was on the opposite side of the spectrum, who was shaky and unconfident. And I know how that made everyone else feel. And it goes on the inverse. So with Fred, not being able to, fully project like what Fred will be health wise, at least from like just an emotional confidence standpoint, having Fred there back in the huddle, back in the mix, back in the trenches, man, that would really be huge. I also think it doesn't necessarily change the dynamics of the offense having to play a huge role in the 49ers chances. But I do believe that it does help. I do believe that it helps getting the guys in the right spot. I think, you got some young safeties. They tend to find themselves out of position at times. I think having a guy like Fred who can direct traffic and call things out before they happen is as a benefit. So I think everyone will feed off that. I think that is why they could succeed and could be a dynamic that really does help them. And again, Fred is one of the most beloved 49ers, man. And I get it. I had the chance to interview Fred Warner this year. Again, I got to I was at an event. It was his first public event, after injuring his ankle. And he's just a pro, and he's a pro human. I think we box these guys into being football players. Fred is a pro human. He could be a CEO. He could be the freaking president. Like he's just a pro human. And it's evident. So like, I can only imagine being in the trenches with a guy like that when the bullets are flying and it's a huge play and you got to make a huge stop and you're rocking with Fred. I think that would be huge. I think that would really, really help the defense quite a bit. Aaron says, "Missed you, Brad. Let's go, Faithful." Appreciate all you guys, man. Always appreciate your support. I know content's been a little bit lighter this year with a bunch of things that I've been doing behind the scenes, but I do appreciate you guys and still showing love. It's always cool going to 49er games and, still running into everyone and getting to meet, people where we interact on IG and YouTube and Facebook, all that kind of stuff, man. It's still a blast and appreciate your guys' support. I really do. It's definitely been a challenging year, but I appreciate y'all. And, but just like anything, right? We grow through adversity. We get better. We get stronger and we keep pushing. We keep moving. So 49ers embody that. And so really, really looking forward to what we got cooking. And yeah, it's going to be good. Gonna be good. Oh, Peter, right on time. There we go. He knew that. See, and right when I like wrapped it up too, just drop the cookies. He knows. That's how you know. He knows. Appreciate everyone tapping in. Grab your cookies on the way out. You deserve your cookies for sure, because San Francisco 49ers, man, they got a shot. They got a shot, and I'm happy to be on this journey with y'all. Happy to have you guys in the chat. Again, good seeing you all. Appreciate you guys. Grab your cookies on the way out. Let's get this dub. And we're gonna take care of business. Yeah, you feel me? Let's go. 49ers. We in there. Hop in the Discord. You know the vibes. Look at all the cookies coming through. Let's go. Get your cookies. We're going to get all these cookies up here. Yeah. All right. Sweet Tooth engaged. He says, I'm getting high on cookies. Let's go. Appreciate y'all. I'm out of here. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see you.